You want this guy if you're the Edmonton Oilers. I want this guy. He's the dream fit. As I've been saying all year, the jersey is already made. Bring him home. Carson Soucy would be the ideal deadline target for the Edmonton Oilers on the blue line, Liam.
I mean, like you said, the jersey's already been cooked up for him to get here. Just change it over a little bit now, I suppose. Now they've got the new jerseys, but you've been on him for a while, and I think he would be a very good fit for this team in the sense of just being a good defensive player. I like it way more than going after a Gavrikov or whoever else we have to give up a first round pick for. I feel like maybe a Soucy's maybe a bit more reasonable, I suppose. So yeah, I like it, and I think from like a Seattle perspective, it kind of makes sense. I don't think they're going to go and win the Stanley Cup this season. I don't think that's number one on their agenda either. So why not recoup some assets for a Carson Soucy while you can?
Well, so some of you might be thinking like, oh, why are the Seattle Kraken selling off? They're ahead of the Oilers in the standings. They're likely going to make the playoffs. What Frank is basically saying is, listen, they went out, they got Jacob Megna. They're probably going to let Soucy walk this year. So you could potentially get an asset for this guy. And for the Kraken, I think they maybe recognize what they are in the sense that they're not winning the Stanley Cup this year. They're going to go get some valuable playoff experience, and that's important, and that can't be overlooked or understated. But is Carson Soucy, what kind of value does he bring them in a playoff series? Is he going to be the difference between them beating the Oilers in round one or beating the Kings in round one versus them losing? I don't think so. And maybe the Kraken recognize that and are sitting there going, whoa, whoa, whoa. If Vladislav Gavrikov's getting a first, then this guy, Carson Soucy, he's going to get us a first. So I think the asking price will be high. And I also do think, as much as I love this guy as a potential fit, it's unrealistic because even if you're going to move him, you probably don't want to move him to a team you could potentially play in round one, right? You probably don't want that look if you're Ron Francis of sitting there at the end of, what if it's a 7-game series against the Oilers and Carson Soucy plays 25 minutes in game 7 and you got to sit there and address the media as Ron Francis and say, yeah, maybe we would have kept this season alive if we didn't move on from Carson Soucy. I think you probably move him out east or at least to a team who you wouldn't have to play early in the playoffs, but they'll probably want a first-round pick for him. So if you're the Oilers, is Carson Soucy worth a first-round pick? That's the question you have to ask yourself. I love him. I don't think I first-round pick love him. I don't think there's a single rental defenseman out there who I would spend a first-round pick on because I think it's foolish. Look at what the Panthers did last year with Ben Sherratt. That guy was nowhere near a first-round pick. A second-round pick? Yeah. Was Brett Kulak worth his second-round pick? Yes. Partially because the Oilers re-signed him, but he was really damn good for them. I would give up a second for Carson Soucy. I would probably give up a second for Vladislav Gavrikov. I wouldn't touch the first-round pick side of things is kind of my stance on this. And I also don't think the Kraken would trade him to Edmonton for anything less than a first-round pick.